Hello and welcome back to Zero's Maverick Hunting. For this very special occasion of Valentine's Day, I've decided I'm going to take us to a world of fantasy as we explore games from the Leisure Suit Larry franchise. But not just any game, this one's special.
Special? I love special!
Ah! Akago, what are you doing here?
Retro PC gaming franchises are my bag, baby. I came running like a mouse to cheese.
So whenever a member of River City Gamers mentions classic PC games, you magically appear in their videos? Whatever. Since you're here, I could use some help. See, I'm not that well versed in Leisure Suit Larry series outside of a few games, and since the history portion of the review is next, why don't you tell us a bit about the game?
So, you're making me do your dirty work, huh? Good thing for you, I love the sound of my own voice.
Don't we all?
Created by point-and-click adventure game juggernaut Sierra Online and perennial funny man Al Lowe, the Leisure Suit Larry series was a landmark in PC gaming during the late 1980s and for most of the 1990s. Kicking off with the first game, Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards in 1987, we follow Larry Laffer, a middle-aged loser dressed in a polyester leisure suit, not unlike John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, who's looking to get lucky in the town of lost wages, as he seeks to A. lose his virginity, and B. find true love, and not necessarily in that order. Unlike Sierra's other titles, which generally went for a family-friendly approach, Alazel went for an adult focus with its humor, full of innuendo, wordplay, and implied sexual acts. All of this, of course, inspired no end of controversy, but also ensured the game's critical and financial success, and Larry quickly found himself flung to video game stardom as audiences worldwide fell for the lovable loser. 5 official sequels followed in the years to come as Larry went on progressively wackier adventures in pursuit of that certain je ne sais quoi in every possible location you can think of. From LA to tropical islands, the La Costa Lotta Resort, and finally on board a luxury cruise ship. After the release of the 6th game, Love for Sale, in 1996, however, Sierra was bought out, and so the series' future was left uncertain. But then, after the turn of the millennium, the new copyright holder Vivendi passed the LSL franchise over to High Voltage Software. An odd choice, as by this point they were best known for making several sports games and licensed titles of dubious quality. In any case, they ended up creating 2004's Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Laude. Made without the involvement of Al Lowe, the game lacked the subtlety and charm of the originals and wasn't so much a point-and-click adventure game as just a collection of mini-games strung together by a lot of gross-out humor and explicit nudity. Hell, you didn't even play as Larry Laffer in this one, instead you now control his nephew, Larry Lovage. Longtime fans, of course, didn't much care for it, and Al Lowe himself publicly disowned it, as the game received mostly negative reviews. But somehow, 5 years later, it still spawned a sequel from Worms creators Team 17. Box office bust.
And today, we'll be looking at said sequel.
Really? Of all the games in this series, you chose that one? Oh, you poor bastard.
Well, not necessarily. See, this one was a gift from a friend when I started doing this review series. She got it practically for free and thought it would be a good fit for my show, since I decided to honor some of the games given to me for reviews. I figure now's a good time as any.
Hey, your funeral. But isn't reviewing sequels usually Blondie's thing?
Yeah, but I already parodied a show years ago. This one, outside of the history section, I must handle solo.
Well, might as well get it over with.
Since Akago has already explained the history behind the series, I'm going to make the history on this game brief. Box Office Bust was developed by Team 17, who are known for the Worms and Alien Breed franchises, and they will be publishing Yooka-Laylee later this year. The game was published by Funsta, a subsidiary of Codemasters, which I'm sure needs no introduction at this point. The game was released in 2009 on PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. For this review, we'll be focusing on the PC version. The game begins with our hero, Larry Lovage, getting a call from his uncle, Larry Laffer. It's here we learn that Mr. Laffer has become quite successful, as he is the owner of one of the biggest pornography studios in the world. Seriously, it's like the Universal Studios of porn. It's not all pleasure, though. Laffer suspects that one of his employees is a spy for a rival porn studio, and he tasks his nephew Lovage to go undercover and find the mole. Given that he's kind of a loser, no one would suspect him. This is where the game opens up and allows us to start playing. I gotta start by saying the world of this game is huge. Basically, the entire porn studio is open up for you to explore, with some areas not accessible from the beginning. The gameplay is essentially that of an open-world puzzle platformer, where you need to get from one objective to the next. The problem with this concept is the game isn't really open world. While you can go to almost anywhere, you are bound by the objectives of the narrative. I wouldn't so much call this a bad thing, but it certainly feels like the game is giving mixed signals. From this point, the game is fairly simple. You are essentially an errand boy going from place to place, to get things, or do things, and bring them to places to do or get more things. Don't let this fool you though, this game isn't just a big fetch quest, as it contains many segments with puzzle platforming, exploration, and hell, sometimes racing. The main issue is most of these segments are easy. The game doesn't pose much challenge, and I only ever failed because of poor explanation or bugs. Which leads me right into the bugs and glitches. I'm not going to be as harsh on this one, as none of these were major, just mostly event or collision bugs. The reason I even bring them up is that there were times where it hindered my ability to complete an objective, such as carts getting stuck upside down and being unable to leave them in the state, or buttons for large doors being behind barriers in certain angles. I also want to point out that while the game never held my hand, it was a little difficult to find out how to complete some objectives. This is very much a game where you'll want to pay attention to the cutscenes, not just to get an idea of what you're doing next, but because they're one of the best parts of the game. These scenes are fantastic. It makes the game feel more real and certainly got me into the story, as simple as it is. The well-done voice acting and crudely accurate script made it work so well, and I don't need to warn you, this game's dialogue is very much on the raunchy side.
Larry, keeping's a strong word. More like defiling. Especially this number 8 here. Woo! You can almost see all the way to Jenna's pancreas.
Funny enough, this is one of the main reasons the game did so poorly and was panned by most critics. I personally find it awesome because, let's face it, this is really how people working a second-rate job for a porn movie studio would sound like. I enjoyed it because of its crassness, and I'm willing to admit I'm a bit of a perv myself, but I can see why this didn't appeal to many people, as it's pretty fucked up. The visuals of the game also complement this style, as they are the Adult Swim-style cartoony feel. This game is actually running on Unreal Engine 3, and while by no means a visual masterpiece, I never found the visuals ugly either. Honestly, if this looks ugly to you, I blame my graphics card. Even though my PC was well above the specs and I could run the game at 1080p at 60 frames per second, my graphics card is still middle of the road in terms of power. The music and sound effects also follow the same adult cartoon style, as some tracks sound like they were made from rejected Looney Tunes tracks, and most sound effects are generic as they come in terms of this style. Let me preface this review by saying Box Office Bust is not a good game. And while I enjoyed parts of it, the bad outweighs the good, and that's really the worst part. It feels like people gave a shit about making this game good, but maybe they didn't give enough of a shit. It genuinely feels like they wanted to take what made Leisure Suit Larry good and modernize it, but ultimately, that's not what the fans wanted. The more I play, the more I feel like this is an attempt to take an adventure game series and try to take that level of storytelling in a more accessible game genre, but sadly it didn't work. Box Office Bust got panned by the reviewers and ended up getting worse scores than the previous game, Magna Cum Laude, even making some Worst of the Year awards in 2009. Had this game come out in the previous generation, and before Magna Cum Laude, it probably would have done better, but called out as a GTA clone. For a while, this is where the series ended, but in 2013 a successful Kickstarter campaign was made for a remake of Land of the Lounge Lizards by N-Fusion Interactive, with Al Lowe, the original creator of the series. However, it received average to low review scores and is surrounded by controversy. I'll end this review by answering an important question. Is Box Office Bust worth it? Well, take for example my thoughts on Sonic Boom for Wii U. I said the game was one of the worst games worth playing. Now if you're a fan of Sierra games, adventure games, or the Leisure Suit Larry franchise, you're probably going to hate this one. But as shallow as it is, it's at least worth a look. Well, now that I finished this review, it's time.
Adventure time?
Oh, this is usually the part of the review where something weird happens.
Weird stuff? I love weird stuff.
We are Codemasters, for we are many.
Hey, I remember you from SCR's Heatseeker review.
You. I thought you'd show yourself. This time, I came prepared.
Oh yes, we know of your powers, and that's why you are not our target.
Then what are you here for?
Him!
Me? Is this because I wrote that scathing blog post on Severance way back?
Wait, you what? Never mind. To get to him, we must destroy you.
Really? That's just low. I mean, making shitty, unlicensed Nintendo games and decent to poor previous gen games was bad enough, but this time you've gone too far.
Final attack. Nice.
Akudo, I've sent you some power. Use it well.
Okay, I don't usually like to do this, but you've left me no choice. Universe Animal!
Last of Us!
What the hell did you do to him?
That is a secret I'm taking with me to my grave.
Well, whatever. Thanks everyone for watching this special Valentine's Day edition of Zero's Maverick Hunting. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day. And now it's time for the end slate. And I'm going to do things a little differently here. This time I'm going to do some promotion. So first off, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Amir Akago, who cameoed in this review and also helped out with a couple other things. Go ahead and check him out. He does a lot of retro PC game reviews. I'll leave a link on the left-hand side here for him. And on the other side, I got to give a shout out to my buddy Canadian Jutsu, also known as Winslet13. He's actually the guest editor for this review. My PC had some issues. He hopped in and edited this review for me, so show him some love. I'm going to put one of his videos on the right-hand side as well. If you want to see my last review or follow me on social media, links will be in the description. Smash that motherfucking like button if you like the video. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Go ahead and give this video a share if you want to show it off to your friends. And please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Adventure time? Jazz hands.